For those that watch Wacom S7 Saturday night stream thing will know that I was actually modding this on stream. This is the new Nerf Ultra AMP, and I went ahead and threw a 3S LiPo in it, and I think it's actually pretty good now, to tell you the truth. Whew. Those darts really smack hard. You can just hear them just like thud, thud. I have footage from that stream where I'm gonna basically show how I modded this. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Did I just dent my box? I think I just put a dent in my box. Now, to be fair, I was not really looking forward to this blaster. I heard of his existence. I think I saw some of the posts that we see overseas when this stuff is announced and talked about, but I don't really think too much of it. Simply just because the Ultra line has not been, well, let's just say it hasn't been too ultra. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have potential. I do actually like some of the aesthetic choices of the Nerf Ultra blasters. So I'm a big fan of like sci-fi type of looking blasters, and the Ultra series definitely has that kind of look. So I do commend the designs of how they look. The ammo type is, as we all know, is not great. But seeing this thing and seeing that it's essentially a Strife, I just felt like it just needed to get a LiPo upgrade, and we could see what kind of performance this thing has. Now I'll go ahead and post up some chronograph numbers of what I got after modding this. If you would like to see a good baseline of this blaster, go check out Wacom S7's video in which he actually does a review of this, and you can see how its performance is without being modded. After chronographing this blaster, I actually wanted to take it outside and see how well it shot. And I shot this at 25 feet because it's ultra, and I'm just accepting the fact that this thing just becomes useless at, like, 30, 40 feet. But at 25 feet, I was able to really consistently hit targets, so I kind of felt like I was shooting rival, to be honest. Now, a few things that I changed. Obviously, this magazine is from the Pharaoh. It just seems like it's more suited for this blaster. I also painted it black just to kind of match the overall look of it. I threw on this worker stock onto this N-Strike attachment, which is really cool that they put this on here. It's actually kind of blew me away that they put an N-Strike attachment point, stock attachment point on a Ultra blaster. So, hey, that's great. I love to see stuff like that. Unfortunately, this little hollow sight looking thing does not come off. I actually really like it and really wish that it could come off. Almost to the point where I'm kind of debating to take it off and put it onto an N-Strike attachment rail and then put some rail up here so I can just put it back on, or definitely use it on something else. I do like it. I think it's really cool. Of course, if you look in there, there is no center dot. There's no red dot, but that's super easy to fix. I could just go in there and put a little red dot in there, and I think it would be really good, actually. So let's get started on the actual build. I'm going to show footage of the stream, like I said, and we're going to I'm going to talk you through what I was doing because I was unable to get audio. So I'm just going to kind of run through the footage and just chime in here and there as to what's going on. So first up, all we're going to do is just take all the screws out of this blaster. These screws, from what I could tell, and I wasn't paying super close attention, sorry, but from what I could tell, they're pretty much the same size. Once we got the blaster open, we kind of inspect just how the mechanism works. We can see there was a ton of locks going on here. Obviously, you have your traditional mag lock. You have your required rev trigger lock, so you can't fire the trigger without revving. And then, of course, on Ultra, we have a dart lock, and then, of course, a dart gate. Now, here I'm opening it up, and we are getting the battery tray out, and I'm just continuing disassembling the blaster. I'm trying to take out this entire mechanism. This mechanism's actually kind of interesting. So it is held in with a few screws. I end up just cutting out the original flywheel cage and taking out the wire channel. There's like a little holder. This piece that I'm holding right now, pay attention to that. I actually leave it out later. I think you should probably put it back in. It kind of helps with it's like a dart guide, kind of just helps everything stay in place. I left it out, and the blaster functions fine, but you could probably remove it or leave it in. As we can see here, I'm just kind of looking at more of the functionality of how this mechanism works. I end up pulling out this bottom rev switch. You don't need that, that's garbage. And as you can see at that lower corner, it looks like we could actually fit our own switch down there. I keep on pulling more parts out, take out the pusher, And right here I'm looking at the functionality of the dart lock. After further analysis of it, it looks like I can just kind of pop open the whole thing and then pull out the actual mechanism that locks the pusher in place. And that's the easiest way to disable the dart lock. You can also just throw a bunch of super glue in there and hold it all in place so it doesn't lock. But I think this method works the best. Just pull it out. So once that piece is out, we can put it all back together. So after assembly, it looks like we've removed the actual mag lock, so we can fire the blaster when the mag is actually removed. We can also shoot any type of ammo through there, so you don't need the proprietary Ultra dart now. So I think I'm gonna be trying some different things in the future. I'd love to make just a waffle head dart that is the size of Ultra and just, you know, pull out those whole like dart locks and just shoot this new waffle head. But we'll see. Let me know what you all think about it. Is there anyone else trying that kind of thing? Oh, here we go. We are working on the flywheel cage here. I end up desoldering the flywheel boards off the wheels. These things actually are pretty beefy, and I am now checking the polarity of them, and we're just going to keep using them. I'm not going to take this apart and put new motors in. They seem like similar to like a rival motor or even like a mega type of motor. But yeah, I pull all that off, and then I'm just gonna end up just rewiring this standard wire, you know, positive, negative. And of course, I've been checking the polarities, so that's what I'm doing here with the 9-volt battery. I didn't have a marker, so I just kind of scratch in a positive sign to know where polarity is. And of course, I like to check and recheck because I have wired up blasters wrong too many times, and I just don't trust myself anymore. And after getting the flywheel cage wired up with the motors, I decided just to test, see if we can shoot a dart through there. And yeah, everything looks good. So just gonna dump that back in there and then get to work on the actual running of the wires. So essentially on a strife rewire, which that's what I'm gonna refer to this as, the negative circuit is just gonna go to the XT60 connection out the battery tray, and the positive is it's gonna run down to the rev switch, which we're gonna replace with something that can handle that 3S load. And that's gonna be wired into COM. So it's gonna go from the flywheels to COM and then out from normally open to the battery tray. And then that's what we're gonna wire to the XT60. And right here, I'm just kind of tucking up the cables, just a little cable management. So you want to keep this out of the way of the pusher, obviously, or things could get tangled up. So you got to be mindful of where those wires are traveling. And it looks like everything is running good here, so I put the final screw in just to hold it together. Now for the battery tray, I tried something a little bit different. I'm probably gonna go back and rework this a little bit because I do have, this tray is a 2-part piece, and I just broke it apart. So I had the top layer, which that's the only part I'm gonna use, and the bottom piece I just discarded. The problem with that is now you can actually see the pusher as you're actuating the blaster, and I don't really like that sitting right underneath the LiPo with the wires, but it does work. Right here, I'm actually reforming and refitting the switch. I ended up bending some tabs down, just some of the connection tabs, just so it can fit in there. And I just kind of had to trim up that little tiny piece down there and to make that little wedge, so I can wedge the switch up in there. I also took the switch lever off, so it's just the button. So you don't need the switch lever if you're going to do it this way. And I just keep doing some trimming and just kind of fitting the thing in there. I'm going to end up using putty to secure this in place. Just checking the functionality here, making sure that it is engaging the switch before I secure it in place. Now we're just kind of feeding some wires, get exactly the length we need, and we're gonna go ahead and solder this up to COM. And because I've bent some leads around and it's kind of tight in there, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure to put heat shrink on these, just because I can't have any shorts, you know. Shorting out, when you have your blaster and it's just stuck in rev, it's really bad. So I pay a little close attention down here with these leads, make sure I put heat shrink on them. And once we got that soldered up, we go ahead and secure that heat shrink and tuck these wires, and we're just going to use some putty to just secure that switch to right there. And we're just doing a bit of form fitting here, just kind of making sure that the switch is engaging. And it looks like this little attachment thing here, it kind of blows my mind that, you know, that piece of material, if you just cut it out, I don't know why that was left in there. I know Hasbro's always looking to save a penny or two, and I don't understand why they would put that plastic part in there. Maybe it has something to do with manufacturing. But here we go. We're going to go ahead and mix up some putty to secure that switch. And this is just your standard putty you can find in the plumbing section at like a Lowe's or Home Depot. This one I believe is called Odie's or something like that. It's pretty fast acting, takes about 5-10 minutes to harden, so I like that. Here we are gonna work on the battery door again. I end up deciding to just CA glue it in place. I think a better solution for that in the long run is to actually just put some putty back there to kind of reinforce it and hold it in place. The CA glue is fine as a temporary solution, but for future longevity, I'd recommend using putty. And we're just gonna go ahead and pull the cables through, finish buttoning up this blaster, and then do our XT60 connection. I do have a little bit of form fitting here. I ended up going back through there, and in the pistol grip on the other side of the shell, there's actually a little piece of plastic I just cut off because it was prohibiting me from closing the blaster with having the new switch in place. So make sure you just pull that out, just cut it out. You should be fine. And of course, got the screws on. Let's go ahead and throw an XC60 on there. I'm using a new XC60 I haven't used before. It has a little piece on the back that actually snaps to the switch and secures it so you don't have to use heat shrink. I really like these switches, so I'm gonna be using them more in the future. As you can see here, you just kind of feed it up and then snap it and it's ready to go. And I fire a test shot and everything looks good. So a couple other things that I didn't mention before is I ended up going back through here for this part and, like I said, resecuring this battery tray a little bit more, and then I added a brass insert in here because it normally just has a nut that is held in by that back plate, which I took out, so the nut kind of fell out. I did put some super glue in there to hold the nut, but it broke and fell out, so I found a brass insert, just throw it in there. That works really well. And I can even change out this screw here for, like, you know, the nice little custom thumb screws to open up a battery tray. So something else I did, I actually went through here and just put a little gold on that side, just because it's so weird that they don't do it on both sides. This side looks really good. It would be amazing if they had this level of detail on that side. It is what it is, and this is kind of what we're expecting with the Ultra line now. I also wanted to make a note that this mag is so much better. I do like this little 6-round mag, that's cool and all, but I would have loved to just get a couple more of these because I already have a Pharaoh, and if I could have a couple more of these, having 3 mags, that's a great way to get someone to want to go buy, you know, more darts and have more mags. It's like they just don't want to make as much money. I don't know. But that pretty much wraps up this build guide. Well, I'm DrFlux. That pretty much wraps up this video, or this build guide of the Nerf Ultra AMP. Let me know in the comment section if you believe that the Nerf Ultra line is completely garbage, or if it has a little bit of potential, a little glimmer of hope maybe. I like to mod stuff that is not really the best thing out there and try to make it somewhat cool. So I like the Ultra line because of that. I like the idea of getting something that is not really up to the standards it should be at and maybe helping it get up to that point. So the Ultra line is just, it's kind of a challenge for me as far as, like, the performance is not what it should be. So I like it. I like working on Ultra. I actually have many Ultra blasters that I want to kind of get up to a better standard. One being the Ultra 1. I will be modding this sometime. But let me know in the comment section what you think I should do to it. I mean, even if I brought it up to Elite and just kind of put a better crush on the flywheels in there and did something in that regard, that's all good. I also have the kit that makes this a conversion for Elite darts. So let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see something like that. But for now, I am happy with the Ultra AMP. So let me know what you think. Well, once again, I want to thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. And as always, happy foam flinging.